Welcome back to Tony Talks Truth, where biblical wisdom meets modern life. Today, we're diving into Proverbs Chapter 11, verse by verse. We will explore the historical context, insights from both Protestant and Catholic theologians, and bring these ancient truths into today's world. This is Part 1, covering verses 1 through 15. Verse 1. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. In ancient marketplaces, dishonest merchants often used rigged scales. The Mosaic Law repeatedly condemned such practices. See Leviticus 19 verses 35 to 36. Justice in commerce was a reflection of one's relationship with God. Integrity in business still matters. Whether in pricing, taxes, or contracts, honesty honors God and builds trust. In the 4th century, St. Augustine wrote, "Fraud in business is not merely unethical but a spiritual corruption." Matthew Henry commented that God detests deceit in any form. Fairness honors him. Verse 2. When pride comes, then comes disgrace, but with the humble is wisdom. Ancient wisdom literature, including Proverbs, repeatedly contrasts pride with humility. Pride was seen as self-reliance that excluded dependence on God. Saint Bernard of Clairvaux writes, "Pride was the root of Lucifer's fall, humility, the path of Christ." This truth is as relevant today as it was 3,000 years ago. Humility opens the door to growth. Pride isolates, humility connects. The integrity of the upright guides them, but the crookedness of the treacherous destroys them. Integrity, in Hebrew, tam, implied moral wholeness and consistency. In a community governed by covenantal law, duplicity was dangerous. Albert Barnes wrote, "Integrity is like a compass. Deceit distorts direction. Let your character lead your choices. Consistent honesty protects you." Riches do not profit in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivers from death. The day of wrath referred to divine judgment. Wealth was seen as powerless when facing God's ultimate justice. St. John Chrysostom reminds us that wealth is fleeting, but righteousness endures. Invest in eternity. Character will always outlast currency. The righteousness of the blameless keeps his way straight, but the wicked falls by his own wickedness. Blameless was a covenantal term for those who lived with integrity. Moral direction was believed to influence actual outcomes. St. Jerome, "Sin carries the seeds of its own destruction. Godly living aligns you with the path of peace. Sin trips you up. The righteousness of the upright delivers them, but the treacherous are taken captive by their lust." Moral uprightness was associated with deliverance from danger. Lust, broadly understood, referred to unrestrained desire. Matthew Henry reminds us that integrity rescues, while ungoverned desire enslaves us. Guard your desires. Discipline and integrity preserve freedom. When the wicked dies, his hope will perish, and the expectation of wealth perishes too. Death was viewed as the ultimate revealer. Those who trusted in earthly gain would lose all. Charles Bridges wrote an exposition on Proverbs in 1840, "Hope not founded on God dies with the body. Place your hope in what death cannot touch." We all know there are no U-Hauls behind hearses for a reason. The righteous is delivered from trouble, and the wicked walks into it instead. This reflects a theme of divine justice in ancient Hebrew wisdom literature, moral cause and effect. The righteous may face challenges, but are ultimately preserved. God's justice can turn tables. Trust in him when wronged, and don't take revenge. With his mouth the godless man would destroy his neighbor, but by knowledge the righteous are delivered. Words carried significant weight in ancient Israel. Slander could ruin lives in a tightly knit society. Thomas Aquinas wrote, "The sin of detraction is destructive, but knowledge leads to discernment." Your words have power. Use it to build up, not to tear down. When it goes well with the righteous, the city rejoices, and when the wicked perish there are shouts of gladness. Community stability in ancient cities was tied to moral leadership. The righteous brought peace, the wicked brought chaos. Righteous leaders bless communities and those they lead. Character in leadership still matters. By the blessing of the upright a city is exalted, but by the mouth of the wicked it is overthrown. Blessings and curses were seen as powerful community forces, believed to bring real consequences. Matthew Henry points out that upright living uplifts society. Your integrity influences more than your life. It shapes your neighborhood, workplace, and nation. Whoever belittles his neighbor lacks sense, but a man of understanding remains silent. In tight-knit ancient communities, mutual respect was necessary for survival. Belittling others was socially destructive. Charles Bridges notes that silence can show more wisdom than speech. Resist the urge to mock or belittle. Silence often speaks louder than criticism. Whoever goes about slandering reveals secrets, but he who is trustworthy in spirit keeps a thing covered. Honor and discretion were prized values in ancient Israel. Gossip was seen as socially corrosive. Reformer John Calvin commented on this passage that trustworthiness protects relationships. Be someone others can confide in. Loose talk destroys trust. Discretion builds it. Where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors there is safety. Wise counsel was essential for Israelite kings and leaders. The verse warns against isolation and pride. Surround yourself with wise advisors. Pride in decision-making leads to pitfalls. Whoever puts up security for a stranger will surely suffer harm, but he who hates striking hands in pledge is secure. Offering to cover someone else's debt was risky business in the ancient world, and often led to ruin. Charles Bridges warns against rash financial entanglements, while St. Jerome advocated prudent generosity, not blind obligation. Be generous, but don't sign up for ruin. Discernment protects you and others. That wraps up part 1 of Proverbs 11, covering verses 1 through 15. Join us in part 2 as we continue through verses 16 to 31, uncovering more wisdom for life today. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a little wisdom in their week. Until next time, stay grounded in truth. God bless.